Testing, testing, one, two, three. Hello, my friends. Welcome to my live stream. It's an hour with Zoran Milich. That's me. Let's get this thing on the show on the road. There we go. Okay. Yes, so welcome back and thank you for watching. There's my little thank you sign. And apparently, even though I left the Switcher app, um, they invited me back, yet for the fourth time to test out the app. And I thought, well, okay, let's find out if this app is really worth the $500 a year subscription. I like the app, but man, that's steep. That money is steep. They got to bring it down. Even though this app does amazing things and it is really worth the $550 a year that you have to pay right away. Um, but I don't need all the options that they have. You can have like 9 people on this app all talking at the same time, and I just have me talking, and they're not willing to bring the price down yet, but you never know. So today we're going to talk about, I just want to let you know that I've been running around trying to find a decent spot to do this live stream. But, I just finally got home and I had so much stuff to do that I thought, you know what? I'll just go to my back wall. So this is my wall, and it kind of leads to the barn and the rose hip tree. It's really a wonderful place I live in for now. I've been documenting this village in the Balkan Mountains and how it is slowly disappearing. It's a sad story, yet positive. And I'll be doing a book. It'll be my 5th book, not on the same subject matter. I have 4 books on something else. They're actually children's concept books. And you could find them at the MoMA and the Guggenheim Museum, which is pretty cool. But this book is about a totally different subject, and I'll keep you posted when the publisher says, let's go. I love how these things grow out of the wall, the stone wall. Beautiful. Check out these guys. Hello. I can never figure out what things are. I just like looking at them. Look at this one. Nice for photographs. And each of these stones have a thing of their own. Like, you can actually see a story in this stone and the other stones. Look at this one. This one looks like Grumpy Face with its eyes like this. I actually will one day soon. My hands are filthy, by the way. I just came out of the fields. I should have washed my hands first. I like to keep clean. I worked with the Inuit, the Eskimos, in Nunavut, which is what used to be the Northwest Territories in Canada. And I photographed these carvers. and they've carved stones. And this just reminded me of that. So one day soon, I will put it all together and show it to you. Today, this got published. Actually, this got published a week ago or even more. But I love this shot. It's like, hold the mayo. No, no, more mayo. Give me mayo, hold the garlic. How ridiculous, but let's check it out. I love her red nails. She actually planted the garlic and picked the garlic. But the red nails, while she was planting them, the images are just dope. Hold the garlic. There you go. Yeah. Let's put a little, couple of shots of me. I don't like to really be in front of the camera, but I could. I will at some point. But I took a picture of myself. I guess this is a selfie. Um, Shot um, in the car with this with my FX30, and that's my nana, my great aunt, talking really loud to her friend, and they who passes by on the road, and they go, "Hey, Nana, how are you doing?" And they all talk to each other. And I asked her, "Please, can you keep it down a little bit while I do the live stream?" And I guess she's already forgotten. Anyway, so I shot this, and it's amazing. The over the shoulder rig, which was, I don't know, I picked that up at B&H for like $20, 20, $25. And I kind of rigged it myself. I used hose clamps from a car to keep everything together. And, I got the gimbal, the $1,000 gimbal, and I got the tripods that go into the thousands again. But this is so easy. You just slam it on your shoulder and it's sturdy, and your eye is very close to the monitor. The FX30 camera, it's a it's a it's a really good cinema. It's fantastic actually. They make films from this camera. It's so but you can't. There's no eyepiece that you look into, but an actual monitor, or you put big monitors on it and stuff. I don't like to work. I don't like to work with all this stuff. That's the big stuff all over. It gets heavier and heavier, and it's just difficult. This one I just slap on, and my body makes it steady, and I could shoot video, and I can also shoot stills. Yeah, wait till that really good light hits this. It's gonna be it's gonna be quite interesting. That barn is actually really interesting. Look at it, thing. It's like a monster. And in this barn that's slowly disappearing, like the rest of the village, there used to be cows in here, you know, and um, a wagon and chickens and pigs. And this barn, this sad little barn that's falling apart, it was the hub, let's call it the hub of the center of everything. And now it sadly just is. Pieces are falling off of it. One day we'll do a tour. This is actually a good idea, to do a tour of some of these barns. Okay, let's go back to New York. I was going through my archive, and I saw some of my Life magazine pictures. So I was the last photographer for Life, the Life brand, when Life became, when they went from paper to digital. And so I was hired, contracted to do, basically do street photography in New York, and it was called Gothamatic. Gothamatic. So they came up with this name, Gothamatic, like Gotham, as in Gotham, New York, and Matic, like Instamatic, Gothamatic. And so I went out every day for months and shot the streets of New York, and it did really, really well. What didn't do well is Time magazine, and Time struggling. So what they did was they melded all the Life archives with the Life archives with the Time archives. So that's that's what happened. They closed it down basically. I was lucky enough that I have a contract that says that I I own the rights to my pictures, and that's my photographer advice for you today, young photographers, budding photographers, is try to keep your archives. Try to make a deal where you say, okay, um, I'll shoot the stuff. Maybe I'll do it a little cheaper for you, right? But I want to keep my images, the rights to my images, so you could resell them later, because you're nothing without your archive. If somebody else owns your archive, or the stuff that you shot for them, you have no rights to it. You're like, sorry, it belonged to somebody else, and you will see your pictures come up and appear over and over again, and you won't get a penny, not one single penny. A lot of these big companies these days, they're like, oh, you should be lucky to shoot for our magazine. You'll get exposure. Well, yeah, but you're basically giving it up for free. I say give a little bit up for free, but not the whole thing. And if you can make a deal where you own your archives, you're going to do just fine, because those pictures are going to last a long time. Believe me, I've been shooting as a professional photographer for 30 years. Okay. Thank God I own my archive. My archive sells constantly, even if I lie down, even if I lean against this wall and take a snooze for like a couple months, I will still get royalties from my pictures, and I will be paid. Something to think about. I'll talk about this more in the future, because it's a very important subject. But while we're talking about New York and life, here's a picture that I shot. This is one of the photographs I shot for Life magazine, and I love it. This sweet dog. What is that? What is that? A French bulldog, I think. Yeah, yeah, it's a French bulldog, and he's in this pulley wagon thingy, and this is on the east side. And of course, the way I worked, the way I work, photojournalism, street photography, is I just see that when I see the photograph, I just lift my camera and pow, right away, shoot. Don't think, shoot. And then after when you get the shot, you run over to the person, which I did, and I said, "Excuse me, you got a cute dog. What's all this about?" Well, that dog is what do you call it? A therapy dog. This doggy was helping kids at Sloan Kettering Hospital. Um, so I guess the owner would take the doggy in, and the kids would love to pat the dog. That's a beautiful little story that I could relate to. Anyway, yeah, the French, is he a French bulldog? Hmm. Anyway, doesn't matter. Back to these flowers. are really something. Look at the, I'm a little bit colorblind, but it's been with me for a while. I think this is a blue, a greenish yellow. Yeah, I'm kind of fixed on this one. Look at that. Hmm? Nice colors on these things. Okay, so let me take a seat here, and we're going to talk about a picture that I just got into the agency. I was hanging around in Belgrade. Let's go. I was hanging around in Belgrade, Serbia. It's the capital of Serbia. And so I took a break from the village, had to get some equipment down in Serbia, sorry, in Belgrade. And I passed by this fortress. And around the fortress, they have these clay tennis courts. And I thought, cool. And worked a little bit with the light, walked around it. I had to Photoshop some loose hoses out. They just, they look, they didn't make the picture. I don't like removing stuff from photographs, but they're just sloppy there. So I took them out and I sent it over to my agency. Yeah, I am part of a photographer's co-op with this agency called Stoxies, and they rock. And if you think you got what it takes, give them a try. Just don't hold back. If you got your creative stuff and you got your own style, don't be afraid to apply. Have confidence, try it. Anyhow, they took this shot, and I thought, wow, tennis. There is one tennis player in Serbia who is like super famous. His name is Novak Djokovic, and I've seen things on him saying, "No joke, no Djokovic, it's Novak." And this man is an incredible tennis player. So while I was hanging around, he's got a center, a tennis center, not too far from the place I was, and I just kind of went there and thought, okay, let me just check it out. There was nobody there, and I talked to somebody at the desk there. I said, "Hey, is Novak here today?" And I told them I was with Getty Images, which I am. My editorial stuff is Getty Images, and I showed them my pass and everything, a special, special pass saying yes, I am with Getty Images, blah blah blah. And they said, yeah, he's going to be here. Or in fact, he's already arrived, and he's in tennis court 4, and there's like 6 tennis courts or something, and there's nobody there except this one court. So I walked up there with the person, and the first guy I met was um, his bodyguard. And this guy was like, he did not take his eyes off of me. And everything was cool. So they said, Zoran here is from New York. He's with Getty Images. And they approved it. Like they're standing there right on the spot. So Novak was there. His trainer was there. Well, let's go to the images. Hang on a second. So I kind of put all 3 of them together. I hope they're in focus. But anyway, there was Novak with his shirt, wearing his shirt for his foundation, and he was just having a great time uh, practicing with his trainer. So he had his trainer there, he had his bodyguard there, he had the person who is taking care of his arm every time he. I'll tell you something. Every like 5-10 minutes, the the therapist, I guess they're therapists, would you know pull his arm back and forth and make sure everything was okay. And he and his uh, coach and trainer, they were just having a laugh every time they hit the ball. they would say something funny to each other, like here's for that clash, here's for this bang, here's for paying $100 and getting ripped off by a taxi driver, bang. It was hilarious. It was really good. Um, of course, I sent these over to Getty and they took them right away. They the images sell, actually. Sports images sell really well. I have a small archive next to my other archive with a company I worked with called All Sport USA. They had the best sports photographers in the world. I did features for them, okay, and the odd sports stuff, but I was nowhere near these photographers who were just next to none. But I did get on with them, and I got a lot of double pages in ESPN, the magazine, Sports Illustrated, and all the hundreds of magazines around the world uh, that have sports photography. So in this series that I shot with him, and I had about an hour with him, and of course the bodyguard's looking at me the whole time. I should have photographed the bodyguard, but I didn't feel so comfortable. But here they are walking in the court and walking off the court, just all giggling and laughing. So this guy on the left that you see, he was the the physical trainer. He's the one who bent Djokovic's arm every like 5-10 minutes to make sure that things were all working as they should. And on the picture on the right was, I think he changed trainers. People who knows tennis a lot better than I do, but I think this was his first coach. The guy on the back left, and there's Novak talking on the right. Now this was called the Novak. What was it? The Novak Center of Novak or Tennis or something. The Novak Tennis Center. Yeah, and what I found really interesting, and I didn't shoot it because the lens I had really wasn't long enough, and I didn't want to leave the scene and photograph it. But this center is on the right next to the Danube River, and people cycle there, they walk there, they run there. Nobody stopped to look and go, "Oh my God, it's Novak Djokovic, who is like the god of Serbian people, right? He's like the hero. He is the hero, right? Being one of, or if not the best tennis player in the world." But there was one kid. There's one kid on the other side of the fence who was watching, and I looked at the kid and I shot it, but it was too far. It was too far to hold the focus, the quality. But I thought, oh man, that's a good picture. If I was doing a whole story on it, I would have walked away and gone up to the kid and photographed him. Years later, I found out that when Novak was a kid, he would do the same thing. He would lean against a fence and watch the tennis players. And he was a little boy. And I thought, oh, I wish I would have taken that shot now, right? It would have to be part of a full story. These are, basically grab shots of Novak at his tennis center, and the pictures appeared, I think, in SI, uh, and a couple of big other magazines. Definitely, there's a lot of tennis magazines this appeared this appeared in, and it was like an afternoon with Novak. You know, my personal shot favorite of this is this one. Okay, I love the shadow underneath his feet. So it's Novak and his shadow and the tennis ball. In tennis, you got to have the ball all the time. You can't. there, it's not a tennis picture if you don't have the ball. And it's so easy to miss the ball. It's incredible. In fact, if you shoot tennis, what I learned from all the big tennis players is you shoot be, just as the ball is coming in, and you can almost feel it, but you got to shoot before you hear the pop of the ball on the tennis racket. Otherwise, it's gone. That's how fast it is. So the ball is exactly where I like it to be. Novak's doing like a surf kind of thing, you know, you see that hand out there. And then there's this shadow. And that's what really makes it for me is me and my shadow, straight up and narrow. Novak Djokovic. So I have a photograph. So we walked off um, the court together, and he asked me a couple of things like, "You're in New York," and I said, "Yeah, but I'm documenting a village," and he took some interest in it, and we talked a little bit about where I shot tennis before, the Lipton. It was called the Lipton um, tennis tournament in Miami. That was that your brain fried as a photographer. Your brain fries there. It's like so hot, and you got to keep it in focus. And then he went off to stretch, and it was like I said, it's cool that I um, hang around, and after the stretching, we can just get a some kind of feature shot as you walking away or whatever, right? He said, yeah, no problem. And I waited half an hour, 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, 2 hours. And then I said to one of his guys, I said, hey, listen, did he forget about me? He said, no, he's stretching. I'm like, he's stretching for 2 hours? He said, yeah, he's like the world champion and he needs to stretch. And I thought, wow, that's when I learned something about athletes of his caliber versus like football. Done, I've shot a lot of football where they come in, they put that smelly stuff on that loosens their muscles, and then they go home. And I've seen that with baseball. I've seen that with football, the Miami Dolphins and the baseball team. I did a lot of stuff with them. The Miami, hmm, I forgot what their name was now. Miami Dolphins and oh well, another time. And also the Miami Heat. I did a lot of work with in the court of the Miami Arena, the original Miami Arena. That was great. I'll show you some pictures of that another time. I had a special spot in the Miami Arena where the spot where I sat on the floor, right behind me was where all the celebrities sat. And they would always ask me stuff like, hey, I'm going to buy my wife a camera. Do you recommend something? I'm like, oh my God, like they can ask so many people. Yet I guess they just kind of connected with the guy and several women who were also sports photographers uh, with a seat on the floor at the Miami Heat. They would ask, but where I sat, that's where the celebrities sat, nowhere else. So they would always ask me stuff. It was pretty cool, and I got some good shots with them. Got a chance to talk with Sylvester Stallone. I got oh yeah, it goes on and on. But that's another story for another time, and will include pictures. Let's go back to my rocks before we finish up. Ah, there's the rocks. It's amazing how this iPhone holds the light, even though we're pretty much in darkness. Let's go up to this thing again. Yeah, it looks like we're going to have a little thunderstorm. Okay, so my favorite video of the week that's been published, and I just love this video. There's no sound to it because when you do this photography that I do, it goes into the agency without sound. It's kind of weird, but okay. That's how they sell them. But okay, ready for these guys? Here we go. They're just, they are incredible. It's like they've been drawn in by some kind of cartoon. And these fellas, this is a ram. I talked about this ram in my last uh, photography stream. He's going to be traded in like a player for another ram because they like to move the rams around. So, you know, they keep the bloodline fresh. But when they first saw me, they were like, they were really scared. And then I got them walking over bridges, walking by me, and they're now comfortable enough to stick their face right in my camera and go, "Oh, it's you again. All right, yeah, okay, okay, let's just get out of here." I'm going to play it again because I love this. I can play it all day. Hang on a second. I'm going to play this thing. Put it there. Okay, here we go. Look, look at them checking out the camera. Oh, it's you. Yeah, okay, yeah, okay. We're out of here. There's a black sheep. Oh no, I'm getting my picture taken. Sorry. And the other one's like, let's get out of here. Ah, then there's the ram. It's just beautiful. You know, I've seen so many videos and pictures of these stunning animals, and they're okay. It's like, okay, that's the picture of the sheep. That's a sheep, and this is a ram. This is a goat, right? And it's okay. It's like, yeah, it's photograph is a photograph, or it's footage, but they're missing character. They're just missing character. And these fellas, ladies, um, they have character. Now, how much work do you have to do to capture character in an animal? It's hard. It's really hard. And that's why we as photographers and cinematographers, because this is my passion, cinematography. I love cinematography. Um, I always wanted, as a kid, even to be a cinematographer, but it was it was easier for me to take up photography. Well, you know, cinematography is photography 24 frames a second. So you're shooting 24 frames, shots a second, basically. But yeah, so back to character. Um, it takes a long time, whether it's a human being or whether it's an animal, to get to know who they are, to for them to feel comfortable enough to show themselves, you know, showing themselves, like saying, okay, this is who I am. That split second in photography and in video, um, video is tricky because you're trying to hold this moment uh, within a, a few seconds, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds, you know. Let me play it one more time. I hope I'm not being a pain, but let's look at this again. Okay, now it's getting real dark. Let's look at it again. And now that I said about the character, let's look for those split second moments that show the character of these animals. Okay, we got a sheep here and no goats. No, so they're all sheep. And in the end, there's the ram. So here we go. And I won't be talking through this. It's a story. It's a story. I think it's 6, 7, maybe even 10 seconds. 10 seconds to capture a story And now I'm not building myself up, but when I see something like this, I'm like, oh my God, it's the universe at work. It's those animals at work. It just, it all comes together. And you sit back and you go, holy wow, you know? Okay, so let's say one of these things. Thank you for watching. And it's not exactly an hour today, but I started late. And turn this off. I wonder what this thing is. You see it? It's my name, but there's this like stripe down there. I got to figure that one out. Anyhow, hang on to your garlic. Don't have too much of it. And we will see you tomorrow.